Good morning, everyone. This is Mike B, the Silver Devil, the Dark God of the Klippa. You are in the Temple of Sitra Achra, the Temple of the Backward Street. I'd like to introduce you to Lordsyko this morning. He was the one who interviewed me a few weeks back, and I want to interview him for you, my audience, also. So, welcome, Lordsyko. Thank you for being with us.
Hello, audience. Hello, guys.
Well, excellent. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, your practice, and how you got started.
Okay, so I used to be more of a right-hand path type of guy and a little bit even Christian, but I kept facing a lot of trials and tribulations and things like that, and it just felt like it wasn't working for me. So I got into a really low point in my life, and then I started questioning things. And I started off first with the Satanic Bible. And then from there, I got into looking into different path practices for about a year. And then I started practicing.
That's great, man. You know what? I can relate to that in a lot of ways. When I got kicked out of the right hand path, I tried to go middle pillar for a while, and I just never caught my stride. I just had one setback after the other, and I knew I wasn't where I was supposed to be. I think you sensed that too. You
Yeah,
just weren't where you were supposed to be.
yeah,
And do you feel like once you hit the left hand path and you got the facts and you decided to make a commitment, did things improve?
for sure, for sure. It was still challenges I had to face, but definitely more enjoyable as in manifesting the things I wanted and the life I wanted for myself.
Yep, absolutely right. That's exactly my experience too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I started to have a better life. I just had a better life when I started working with these guys. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's inspiring. That's very inspiring. You know what? Because one path doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, it's different for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what they need and what kind of soul they are and what they're going to resonate to. That's yeah. I think a lot of people can relate to that. That's awesome. Now you brought up Anton LaVey's book, The Satanic Bible. I'd like to talk about that for a minute, if it's all right with you.
Okay.
I was never a huge fan of and I can't even recall the technical term for the name of the Satanism that he espouses. Like, I think it's, um, what's the name of that? Theistic Satanism.
Okay.
Whereas there is no devil, it's in our mind, but we're using him as an example, and I think that's cool. He was a really smart dude, though, and he
Yeah.
said a lot of stuff that really made sense.
Hmm.
One thing he said, Anton LaVey, do not try to love everyone. He said, that is ridiculous. Hate those that should be hated and reserve your love for those that should be loved. And
Yes.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, tell me what you thought about the book.
So, like with you, it's not something I agree with 100%, but it was recommended by a left-hand path practitioner to me as an introductory book. So
Yeah, yeah,
for
could be
me, it
right.
was good for that. Mainly what the book is about is how there's a lot of contradictions within Christianity and the right hand path and things like that. So I was surprised that that's what it was about, and um it made sense to
It
me.
opens, yeah, it opens your eyes to things that you never saw before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what the problem is, man? The right hand path religions have dominated spirituality and controlled the narrative that the rest of us got taught or told for the last 2,000 years.
Yeah.
But things are changing. The tide is changing. Day will turn to night again. Yep, we're already seeing it. Because 300 years ago, man, we couldn't have even had this talk. We couldn't have had it publicly.
For sure.
Um, now we're able to hold our ground a little bit better. We're not 100% where we could be, but we're making strides in the right direction. And I agree. That book is a must read for anybody because it's going to liberate you. You know what? I'm going to ask you this next. This is a great question. Did you feel did you have challenges with your old belief system's baggage when you decided to make the change to the left hand path?
For sure. For years
Yep.
after
Yep.
that, like even when
Yep.
I was on the left hand path, there was still remnants of decisions I made while I was on the right hand path that I
Yep.
regretted. And
Yep.
Yeah, so the sooner you get on the left-hand path, if you're interested in it, the better.
The better. You know what? I'm going to tell you something that I'm ashamed of. I actually quit the path and went back to the right hand path on two or three different occasions before I finally just said, no, I'm really done with this shit, man. Fuck this shit. I
Yeah,
don't need the security and the promises of the right hand path divinity. I don't need to be part of the flock. I don't need the protection. I don't want that shit anymore. I want to do me.
yeah.
When I really got to that point, then I started reading some DK Jehannan, and he's got some great rights to break you of JCI, Judeo-Christian right-hand path brainwashing, and to break the actual link between their Holy Spirit and yourself, because we have to divorce ourselves from that when we embrace the night side fully. At least I needed to, and that helped a lot for me, man. Tell me about what you did for you to get rid of some of the baggage.
Well, reading that was step one, and then I started practicing some of the beliefs, such
Mm,
as the one you mentioned, not to love everybody, just focus on the ones that actually deserve my love and are in my life, trying
yeah,
to help me and cooperate with me, and not really focusing on the rest of the world. And then from there, I was looking into different YouTube occultists such as Michael Ford and E.A.
yeah, I
Coetti,
like that.
who's no
Yep.
longer on the platform, but I liked their information a lot. And through Michael Ford, I got into Luciferianism.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, actually, I very strongly resonate with Luciferianism myself as well as a current. Yeah, I like that as well.
Mhm.
Much more than like theistic Satanism. I really I get down with the Luciferianism much more.
Yeah, me too.
What do you think of, what did you read any Edgar Kervel or Asenath Mason or J.D. Temple?
I'm aware of Asenath Mason, but I haven't got into her work yet. I would like to. So,
Yeah, yeah. If you get time, I mean, we've got so much shit on our to-do list, but if you get time, yeah, it's worth the read. How do you feel about clip-off and clip-off initiation?
well, I haven't initiated myself into it, but I've read a lot about it, and I find it very interesting how it has roots within the Kabbalistic stuff and Judaism a little bit, but it's like a
Okay,
hidden mystery.
well, that's the problem, and This is really. I'm so glad you brought that up because here's the issue.
Okay,
That is primordial, and the beings that live in the night side have been defined by the right hand path and by kedusha for so long that that's what we believe. Like we believe that it's evil, we believe that it's tainted, we believe that it's dark and bad, and that's because the language that's used to describe it is the Kabbalists' language and the right hand path's language.
okay,
Unfortunately, we don't have a system at this point to really break away from that model, that paradigm, to discuss the tree. It's easiest to discuss it with the paradigm and their words like tree of death or like in relation to tree of life, like as it were.
okay,
It's easiest to understand it through that lens. But when you really see it, you're like, wow, they lied about just about everything they told us about this. Like
for sure, for sure.
they just didn't want us to have the power of the night side. That's what this is really about.
Hmm.
I've done the initiation once and I'm almost through the second one, and I'm gonna tell you what, man, it's brutal. I really recommend it to you, and I feel like you're probably ready to do it, but it's not safe for everyone. You know that.
Yeah,
It's dangerous a bit, yeah, but it's really rewarding, bro. Yeah.
it seems that way.
Okay. What do you think about right hand path religions that we haven't discussed yet, like Indian paganism, like the Indian religion of India?
Um, I find it a little bit interesting to be honest, and I see different purposes it can serve, and right hand path religions in general, they kind of keep people in a comfort space, which is not really
Yeah,
good. But
yeah.
a left-hand path practitioner can also work with entities from that
Yes, you're
specific
absolutely right. Yeah,
religion,
you're absolutely right.
such as Kali, the goddess of destruction or whatever that is. But
Shiva, Krishna. Yep. Yeah, you're
but
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
like
really
that.
got into it too much, but I do like the chakras and stuff like that, but I see it
Yeah, yeah.
kind of from a dark perspective.
Yeah, they do a lot of great stuff with energy body, energy work, and
Yes,
Ayurvedic medicine is very interesting as well. I
for
have
sure.
a friend who's going to become an Agori priest, like a left-hand path Indian priest, like, and it's really intense what he's going through, man. I'll chop it up with you like on the side sometime about that, just because it's interesting and you might find it an interesting conversation. Um, what did I want to ask you next? I wanted to ask you, how long have you been on the path?
So I from the Satanic Bible I read for like a year, and then I've
Yeah.
been practicing and doing rituals and spells for the past 2 years.
Great. You know what? For 2 years, man, you are very conversant. You are very coherent, cogent. You're able to express yourself articulately on these things. I'm really impressed. You've done a lot of hard work to get to this point, and like you haven't been dicking the dog. You've been on it, and I
Yeah,
can I can see that. Great, man.
I'm kind of
Uh,
like obsessive with the things I get into. Like when I first got into it, I would just work and then get home and read till like 2 a.m.
yeah.
Do the same thing next day, same thing next day.
It feels like it's not even work. It's like a calling. It's like something you have to do. It's like something that burns in your soul, like the desire to know more, the desire to become stronger.
Yeah, it's
Like I
super.
practice every day. Do you practice something every day?
Um, right now, no, because I'm living in my mother's house and she's Christian. But
Okay.
when I have
Pause for
had
work.
when I have had my own place, my own house, or wherever it was I was staying, I would always set up an altar and mostly have worked with Lucifer, but I've gotten into different spirits too.
Tell me about the other spirits. Like, do you have a patron yet, or have you not made that commitment yet?
I feel like so far for me that's Lucifer, but I would like to work with a lot of other spirits more and get more experience on the path.
Yeah. Here's something I can recommend to you if you're interested. It's something called the 72 Challenge.
Okay.
The 72 Challenge is basically where a magician evokes each spirit of the Goetia one time. And it's like a meet and greet, like welcome for us. Please accept this liquor in your honor. Thank you for coming. I don't have a task for you. I just wanted to meet you. And is it okay to call you in the future? And then when you get the commitment that, yeah, that's okay, great. Not every spirit's going to be nice to you. I'm going to tell you, some of them were real
Okay.
dicks to me. Some of them, like Andrialphus and Horace, they were like, "Why have you called me?" Rah. But it's good to you can get your foot in the door with them, and once you, it's great practice for your evocation technique. Like it'll really give you a confidence and a polish because you've done it so many times now, and it's great to know the 72. They are so interesting. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that statement?
For sure, for sure. I have
I mean, these are really interesting.
I have a book that contains information on all the 72. Um, but also, how often would you recommend to do it? Like, how much time apart should each evocation
Okay,
be?
you're asking a really good question because I was like pedal to the metal, and everybody's different energetically. Everyone's got different degrees of strength. I can do two evocations a day. At that time, I could do two evocations a day and have it not wear me down. If I
Okay.
went to three or four max, my aura would start to look like Swiss cheese with holes in it because I was burning my energy so fast and so hot.
Okay.
Um, Two is about good for an intermediate practitioner. Yeah, an intermediate practitioner, about two.
Okay.
Um, but you'll find what your limits are because here's what you don't want. You don't want to be going through it so fast that you're half-assing the rituals because you don't have the energy to really give it what it should have. Don't do that.
Sure.
Um, it's better to only do two if you can really do it right because when you get a good quality connection with the spirit during evocation, that's where you're going to have your gnosis and you're going to have your clairaudience build up and your clairvoyance build up. It's better to put your best into it than to half-ass it. That's what I would tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah. So you're rocking and rolling on the path, man. Now, you brought up something else that was really, really important, and I want everybody to hear this right now. You
Okay.
said, in my view, I believe I can work with any spirit that I want to of any pantheon or path. And I'm like, you know what? That's exactly right, man. Tell us more about that because a lot of people don't see it that way. And I want you to tell them exactly what you think. It's actually, you're right. You're 100% right.
Okay. So I haven't actually got into working with right hand path beings while I've been on the left hand path, but beforehand I would look into the angels a lot and
You know?
kind of evocate them, not
Yeah.
necessarily ritualistically, but I had read that with angels you can kind of like meditate and contact them that way with the intention and
Yeah. Yeah. I will
um
clarify that point to you real quickly from a Kabbalistic perspective. Any sincere attempt to contact an archangel for any reason that's serious, they
mhm.
will hear you. That's for sure. Yep.
Okay.
You're right. Yeah, you're 100% right, man.
And also, while I've been on the left-hand path, one that has been kind of interesting to me is Archangel Sandalphon.
Sandalphon, yes. The Archangel of Malkuth, yes.
And he's
Yep.
also the Archangel of Music, which that's interesting to me because my name is Elijah. And within the whole Christian mythology or whatever, the prophet Elijah becomes Sandalphon. So that's kind of significant to me
Yeah.
because I
Enoch,
make music.
Enoch became Metatron and Elijah became Sandalphon. That's very interesting,
Yes.
isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. You know your Kabbalah pretty well. I'm impressed with you, man. Knowing Kabbalah doesn't hurt you. It actually really helps you in a lot of ways. It's kind of universal. It's not just a right hand path thing, but they kind of bogarted it and started goaltending it kind of. Um, Here's how I feel about the Angels. When you get on the left hand path, they are going to meddle with you because we're doing things that go against the grain, and we are dealing with spirits that they feel are destructive and dangerous. So the angels will meddle in your affairs. I cut them out of my practice almost entirely. I do work with some angels, but I do not use them on goetic spirits. I use them by themselves for their different tasks, but never at the same altar because it just turns into a big fight. You could you're entitled to work with whoever. In my view, man, your birthright is that you can commune with any spirit in the universe if you want to. And if you're in the left hand path, man, who is going to tell you that you can or can't? Who makes the rules for us?
For sure.
Yeah, you make your own rules, man. You decide what's right for you and what's best for you. It doesn't matter what I think; it matters what you think.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I don't have the right to tell anybody else in the privacy of their own practice that what they're doing isn't right or whatever. And who knows what I misunderstood or got wrong, and I don't want to spread ignorance or dumb shit. I mean, I'm right about most things that I say, but maybe I'm not right about everything all the time. So it's good to keep an open mind too. That's why we're doing this right now. Like I want people to see this. This is exactly what more left hand path people need to do. We need to come together. We need to collaborate, pick it, bounce some ideas off each other, and figure out what we need to do. What's our next move? Yeah, that's great, man. Okay, what's your favorite kind of magic? I mean, have you gotten into different styles?
Um, Not necessarily, but the reason why I said earlier I feel like maybe Lucifer or one of the many other names you like to refer to him as or Lucibel. Um,
Lucibel or Lumiel, Halel. Halel is what I prefer, but
okay,
Lucifer means so many things to so many people that I just feel like if I call him that, I might have a misunderstanding. So
for
he
sure.
never stopped being an archangel. He's always been an archangel, and he always will be, even though he's fallen from grace. Um, he's still an archangel. So I refer to him as Halel. Uh, and for me, that cuts through the bullshit, and it's like a mind trick on myself. It doesn't
Okay,
matter to anybody else. It's like I feel like I'm cutting through the garbage to get to an older aspect of him that doesn't have a Judeo-Christian like bullshit that we normally associate with it,
Yeah,
But
for sure.
what,
Even
I'm glad you talked to him at the point in your career you did. I was scared for like 20 years to talk to Lucifer. I really was scared. You had the balls to do it in 2 years. That's great, man. Tell me what your first time was like when you connected with him.
well, my first times was through a guided meditation um that kind of evocates him. It's not the same as doing a ritual, but that was an introductory to it. But I
Enough
still
to,
definitely
yeah,
received
I get
guidance that was very profound. Like when I first started doing the meditation, I was working a job and I got the insight that I needed to quit my job and just open up a studio and start doing that recording
Is that
studio.
what you did?
So I immediately just did it and it worked out for a year and a half. And then it got broken into. So I ended that. But it definitely changed my life for the better. After I did that, that was my most successful I've been so far.
Yeah. You know what, man? When you're working for somebody else all the time and you're manifesting someone else's dreams, man, a lot of us have to do that to make our money because we don't know how to make it any other way. But you had the balls to step forward and say, I trust you and I trust what you told me. Let's do this together. Let's both
Yes.
move on together. That's fucking powerful, bro. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo. That's great, man. That's an inspiring story. I was afraid of him for like 20 years because of all the Judeo-Christian garbage. I have found him in my relationship anyway to be really fair, really just. He has a very strong sense of justice. He's not the monster everybody thinks he is. He's just not. Like
For sure.
he's actually really like he. I feel like he sees you and sees what you could be and wants you to be your best self.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Yep. That's how I feel anyway. Yeah, he's amazing, and I don't bother him a whole lot. I don't like to pester him because I know he's got stuff to do. But yeah, I try to touch base with him once a month or so. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's great, dude. So, okay, do you have a lot of friends that are in the LHP?
Um, I actually have like none that are in it. I kind of keep it to myself and talk to people a little bit if they're interested, but none of them have really picked it up and practiced it.
Okay, you know what? That's the experience of a lot of us because we are different. In my view, man, like 80% of the people that we run into in the Western countries like America and Europe and Canada, we are all brought up with a Judeo-Christian background almost exclusively. So
Mhm.
for us, our polarity is 80% Kedusha, 20% Sitra, which means that most of the time we're going to be following the rules, doing what we're told, staying in line, being good people, being good sheep. And when we get exposed to Sitra, it scares us and we get uncomfortable. Have you ever experienced that? People being uncomfortable with it?
For sure, for sure. But
Yeah.
however, part of why I was drawn to it a little bit is because I live in Miami, Florida, and even
Okay.
though people predominantly believe in Christianity and things like that, they kind of contradict themselves heavily. And a lot of people out here are kind of like dark, but in a like not even a controlled way. So that kind of made me question things.
You know what? Times are changing, brother. The tide is changing. Day is turning to night, man. It's
Mhm.
it's happening in front of our eyes. Are you at a point where you can feel somebody with a very strong Kedusha vibration, like a Kabbalist or right hand path of death? Have you ever felt that light vibrating energy?
I actually
It's
haven't came across a Kabbalist, but I have came across a lot of right hand path light workers and things like that.
oh yeah. they they get really fucked up by our vibration. I feel like whenever I come around them, like they can sense the night side and they get scared. Like whoa, you know?
Well,
But
I one thing that the practices have led me into um as I unveiled information about just the world in general, I'm very into like social information and evolving in that aspect. So I kind of like, if I need to, kind of shapeshift and disguise it very well and relate to
Okay,
them.
that's
Or
yeah. That technique is something that we call a glamour in magic.
okay.
It alters your energy body, it alters your aura because everybody's aura interacts with each other. Like if you meet somebody and you just don't like them and they don't like you, there's something in your auras that are clashing. Okay. So, in order for our kind to walk amongst the people without having problems, we largely have to cloak our night side energy because it makes people uncomfortable if you let it go fully out. I completely agree with that. So it's pretty much common practice for most of us to cloak that as best that we can. I was discussing that the other day with another adept, Ricky. He 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 is really good with Franz Bardon's system of mental magic, and he's able to do stuff like that really easily. But yeah, that's the easiest way because we don't need to create conflict for no reason. There's no purpose in that, and it doesn't benefit us.
Yeah, for sure. It's a waste of time sometimes because people are just so set in their beliefs sometimes,
Yeah,
even
they
if
just
you,
believe what they want to believe, man. It doesn't matter what you say or what I say. It doesn't even matter what the truth is. Like we are living in a post-truth world now. The facts no longer matter. It's just about what you want to believe and what sounds good to you, and that's what they're going to believe, man.
for
That's
sure,
it.
for sure.
It's like only very few of us really give a shit about like, hey, I want to believe things that are true. So I'm going to seek the truth, and when I find it, then I'll know that it's true, and I'll work with that. That takes a lot of courage, man. To be honest with you, it takes a lot of courage.
I
I'm
had
I'm impressed.
actually read this book, I forgot which one, that it said people who are on the left hand path, it's about like 1% of the world.
I would give it closer to 5 to 8, to be totally honest with you, but it's really small, man. It's
Yeah.
We are vastly outnumbered. But I'd like to point something out to you, and you might find this entertaining.
Okay.
In the mythology of Lucifer falling from heaven and being cast out by Archangel Michael, first of all, I know both of those entities very well, and I'm really not sure that Michael's stronger than Lucifer anymore. Spirits can grow and change with time, as you're aware, and I think Lucifer may be stronger now. That because I know them both, and they're both really big entities. But like I think I just don't think I'd put my money on Michael if it went down today. The second thing is, according to legend, Lucifer looked left. He swiped his tail because he's a dragon, and he took a third of the stars from the sky. That is a metaphor for taking a third of the angels with him in his fall.
Okay.
Now, you might say, how could Lucifer or his forces ever think that they could win any kind of conflict with the right side when they are so low on manpower? And Michael's got two-thirds. I'll tell you what, the one-third that Lucifer got was like the best and brightest of heaven, man. Like, because nobody was satisfied with what was going on. Nobody. That's the story I've heard from a lot of spirits. Yeah, that's UPG, man, and I'll totally admit that up front. But I've heard it so many times from so many spirits now that, like, and they all had different reasons for leaving. Like, it wasn't always about Lucifer's politics that they agreed with, but when you see a lot of your friends leaving, you're kind of like, yeah, maybe I should go too. And that's what the spirits told me. Um, but yeah, Lucifer's got like the brightest and best, and Lucifer has most of the jinn, the jinn race, with him. So he's been hard at work for about 1,000 years, maybe 1,500 years behind the scenes, getting everything together. And that's why I think now we're seeing changes because of that. Um, have you ever worked with Asmodee?
Yes.
What do you think? Tell me what you think of Asmodee. I got to hear this.
Um, well, I evoked and invoked him, and
Okay.
I kind of feel like he's kind of helping me put my life together. Um
He is a great spirit, man. I like Asmodee a lot. I think he's the strongest king of the Goif in my opinion. He's
with
really
with all these left hand path entities, there's always gonna be challenges you face, but for the better. But I feel like I don't know if it's because of who I am and the maybe certain challenges I've already passed, but to me, it hasn't
You
been
know,
too chaotic. Um, and I'm definitely getting my financial situation in order, and I feel like improving myself to have my lust in a proper have a proper relationship with my lust. Um,
as long as it's not bringing you down or taking away from your honor or your value, then I don't see any problem with however you want to express that yourself. I mean, that's great. What I like that I'm hearing you say is you're taking responsibility for you and your life. Okay,
yeah,
and you understand that if you're going to have something happen that's positive, you're going to be the one that makes it happen. You're not going to wait for other people to do something for you. You need to do it yourself.
yeah, for
I
sure,
like that. That's left hand path. Like left hand path is not for people that can't take responsibility, man.
for sure. You can work with spirits all you want, but you still have to do the work alongside the spirit.
And you were right about the challenges. You know what? For the first 20 years of my career, I told the spirits, if you start giving me challenges, I'm going to tell you to get the fuck on because I don't want you to give me challenges. I want you to give me what I asked you to. And it's
Yeah,
like the spirits are like, yeah, we understand that's what you're saying, but that's kind of not what we do. We're going to kind of we're going to kind of give you challenges anyway because we need them to grow. And
yeah,
so it didn't really matter what I want, man. Like you were right, and you see it clearly, and you only have been at it for 2 years, and it took me 20 years to see it that way, and you already got it in 2 years, man. So that's impressive too. I, everybody's going to evolve at different rates, and they're going to see and learn at different rates. And I think you're really on fire, man. That's I'm excited for you. You got a great adventure ahead of you.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'm really stoked for you, man. Um, you're going to be rocking and rolling once you get your own place going and all that too. And for now, man, you don't even have to fuck around with altars or tools. Like you've kind of watched my YouTube a little bit, right?
Okay, yeah,
Okay, yeah, I like to do I like the ceremonial magic. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, as they say. You can do an entire ritual completely in your mind and have the same exact effect of me and all my tools and all my you know polished regalia and blah blah blah. Like magic, as you know, comes down to willpower, concentration, and imagination. All the tools and stuff that I use, man, are like training wheels on a child's bicycle. Like it helps me focus my mind and will on what I'm trying to do. If you don't need it though, man, you don't need it. And I think don't feel like you need to have that in order to be successful. You can totally. There are books like the Magic of Angels and Demons by Henry Archer. That's a great book.
okay,
Uh, Lucifer and the Hidden Demons, Theodore Rose. That's a technique that you already seem really suited for. You you do it all mentally and you connect with the demon and you make your wish and it works, man. It
okay,
works. Check that stuff out because that's good resources for you. With your mom's house, we've
yeah.
all been there, man. We've all been there. Um, yeah. Is there anything you want to tell us about?
Let's see. Uh, One other technique that doesn't require an altar, there's sex magic,
Yep.
which
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
one little practice. There's many that can be performed. The one thing I do is if I'm about to orgasm, I picture something I want to manifest
Yeah, that's very valid.
and
There's
then
a form
release
of
it
magic
to the
called
world.
chaos magic. Have you heard of that? Chaos magic?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with it, but they basically make a sigil out of the letters in a sentence of their wish, and then they will jack off on it, and when they nut, like they will imagine their wish happening, and then they'll burn the paper in it, and then shit happens. I can't tell you the mechanics on why it works, but it does.
Well, what I've read is just like with death or sacrifice, it's a lot of life force energy being released
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
same
Yeah.
way as an orgasm, which in I believe it's French or another language,
Petite
orgasm.
mort, a little death. Yes, I already know what you're
Yes,
about to say.
yes,
Yep. Yeah. I can't believe you know that, bro. That's amazing.
yeah, for sure.
Dude, that's amazing. You are really on fire, man. Like you really know your shit. I'm so glad my audience could see a dude that really knows his shit. Um,
And
I'm gonna
there's
say
one
this.
more thing I could get into that's
Oh,
not
please.
relating to an altar, but there is vampire magic,
Hmm.
which is
Yep.
something you can perform as you go throughout your day. And it's little techniques and just philosophies to have that I
Yeah,
practice.
magic is interesting. You're right. It's very interesting. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Very interesting. How do you feel about people that dabble on the left hand path? Like they don't really commit. They're kind of like a poser. They're scared to put their whole foot in. Like so they kind of play around and fuck around and like to be fashionable they'll try to kick it with spirits. Like how do you feel about those kind of people?
Um, well, we all start somewhere, but if you're not giving this work the proper respect, you're gonna face consequences or just not see what you want manifest.
You're right about that, man. There are serious consequences for people that dabble. Like you can get seriously hurt. Uh,
Hmm.
let me ask you this: Do you understand what demonetry is? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is a hot button issue within the left hand community. There's a lot of
Okay.
back and forth about this. There are a lot of people that carry demonetry as if it is a right hand path religion. They have turned the goetic spirits into gods, or say that they always were, and they worship them. They give them offerings like you would a god of a pagan religion,
Okay.
and and all that. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's not something I necessarily look at demons as,
Right.
but
Okay.
I haven't really read into it or explored it to really know anything about what that's about. I have read a little bit and I think the author S. Connolly,
Connolly. Yep.
I think she seems interesting, but I haven't looked into it too deep yet.
Okay.